What's going on, everybody? We are back with some cool commander ideas, and the keyword here is ideas, alright? These are not going to be entire deck lists. There's not going to be any deck list links down below. These are strictly just baseline concepts and ideas to get you guys interested. Also, thank you guys for totally not pushing that Meat Canyon video on Meat Canyon. You totally shouldn't have done that. That's super wrong of you to do, and I don't appreciate it at all. So, I've got however long this video ends up being amount of deck ideas for you. So if you've been wanting to like spark some new idea and you want to just like get a little start to it that then you can complete and finish up, I've got plenty of ideas here for you. So let's do it. Deck idea number 1 is based around Tatyova Benthic Druid. This 3, a blue and a green 3/3 has landfall. Whenever a land enters under your control, you gain a life and draw a card. Now, a deck like this, you're going to run Oracle of the Moldiah, so you can get some extra landfall. Maybe even like a spicy Psychosis Crawler to ping opponents when you draw and interact with Tatyova's landfall ability, which is all good and fun. You can still do that, but where my brain went with this is, what about earthbending? With something like Badger Mole Cub or Earthbending Ascension, we can animate our lands and turn them into creatures. Not only this, if earthbended lands die, they just come back into play as lands, so that is another landfall trigger off of Tatyova. So feel free to throw an Ashnod's Altar, an Altar of Dementia, a Phyrexian Altar into this list, and then just start sacking your earthbended lands to get tons of landfall triggers whenever you need them. Seems pretty good. Rampaging Baloth plus Tatyova plus Earthbended Land plus Sack Outlet. I feel like that's a lot of value going on in a deck. But shit, maybe I'm wrong. What about 6? This 2 and a green 2/4 has reach, and whenever 6 attacks, you mill 3 cards and you put a land card from among them into your hand. As long as it's your turn, non-land permanents in your graveyard have retrace, meaning you can discard a land, pay its mana cost from grave, and play it from grave. This is great. Again, kind of a landfall-y deck a lot of the time, or a lands matter deck, as it guarantees lands in hand that you can play. It also gives a lot of your powerful permanent stuff that has landfall in your graveyard retrace, which is just busted. But where my brain went with this is Planeswalkers are a permanent, right? Sure, yeah, throw in like a doubling season, throw in all the green Planeswalkers into this list, and I feel like you've got a pretty good list because like 6, again, is going to guarantee you land drops because they'll put lands back into your hand from the mill. That'll guarantee you hit your Planeswalkers on the turn they should come out. If anyone deals with your Planeswalkers, you can bring them back with 6. Plus, you got tons of mana ramp in mono green that you can just rush out the Planeswalkers anyway. This one, I'm not 100% sure about, but I guess that's kind of the point of the video. Cool idea. And for you red players and tribal players, I didn't forget you this time. We've got Chainer, Nightmare Adept being 2 a black and a red for a 3/2. Discard a card. You may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. Activate only once a turn. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste until end of turn. What are we going to do with this? Goblins. Yeah, you want to play a Siege Gang commander? And then like sack your own Siege Gang commander and then discard a card to play your Siege Gang commander again. It's quite a bit of tokens, quite a bit of stuff. Goblins are just prone to just bashing and going wide and just attacking players. So a lot of goblins are going to be blocked and end up in graveyard. But if we can just chainer it back into play, especially something like, oh, I don't know, Krenko, where we can tap to double the amount of goblins. Wait a second. Oh, yeah, with Chainer, if we get Krenko back from graveyard, it gives Krenko haste, so we can use Krenko the turn he comes out. And then with all the cool black-red Blight and Goblin interactions that came out in Lorwyn, this seems extra good. Throw in your Goblin Bombardment, sack a Goblin, discard a card, play that Goblin again, sack that Goblin again, Siege Gang Commander. Seems actually pretty good, as close as I've ever gotten to being interested in building a Goblin deck. This next one seems so straightforward. It's actually insane. It's like you're looking at a path where one's like fire, one's ice and like meteors and shit, and then one's like a Lotus field, dude. Just a calm, blissful Lotus field. And you got some guys sitting there going, with Jarad, Golgari, Lichlord. Being 2 black, 2 green, 2/2, it gets 1/1 for each creature in your graveyard. Pay 1 a black and a green, sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses life equal to that creature's power. Sacrifice a swamp and a forest. Return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, if you're normally playing this guy, apparently you either go Reanimator, like Grave Size Matters, or Zombies, I guess. Why don't you just run all the scalar creatures, is where my brain went with this. Sinkhole Surveyor, this little guy that's going to either spit out 1/1s or keep giving itself 1/1 counters. Over the course of a game, this thing's going to get pretty big, and then all of a sudden, oh wait, I can sack that to my Jarad. Uh-oh. How about Vincent Valentine? 2 and 2 black for a 2/2. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a number of 1/1 counters on Vincent equal to that creature's power, and when Vincent attacks, you transform him into a 3/2 trample lifelink that comes back when he dies. Yeah, I'm sure that the front side of this, and the back side, isn't going to get absolutely gargantuan over the course of the game, and not only threaten to end the game in and of itself, you could just sack it to Jarad. Take him out. How about Saj's Chocobo? Hey, 1 green, 0/1, gets a 1/1 counter whenever we play a land. Genuinely something as simple as this, when you have like a Rogue's Passage in play, can definitely make your opponent start sweating. It's like, hey, I'm going to bash you with this 10-11 Chocobo, and then I'm going to sack the 10-11 Chocobo to deal 10 to all of you. And if any of these decks have interested you so far, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Let's continue on with Jetmir, Nexus of Rebels. Being 1, a red, a green, and a white for a 5/4. Creatures you control get 1/0 and have Vigilance as long as you have 3 or more creatures. Creatures you control get 1/0 and have Trample as long as you have 6 or more. And creatures get 1/0 and Double Strike as long as you have 9 or more. Cool deck. And again, this thing is very straightforward. You either like plug a tribe into this that you can go wide with, or you make tokens and go wide with the tokens. That's how you play this commander. Which, again, my deck is going to include the token thing, but I really think that Jetmir is really kind of great with Blink, if I'm being honest, and let me explain why. So imagine you've got a board of, let's see, ones to get Double Strike at 9. Let's say you have a board of 6 creatures, okay? And one of those creatures is a Captain of the Watch. You could swing with your whole board, and then if someone decides to take it, be like, in response to you taking it, I'm going to blink my Captain of the Watch with a Cloud Shift. Captain of the Watch comes back in, makes 3 more 1/1 soldiers. That cranks my creature total up to 9. So now all of a sudden Jetmir's turned on to 9, and all your stuff has Double Strike. And there's just tons of cool stuff you can blink for tokens, you know what I mean? It's still a token deck like Jetmir should be, but just running Blink, I feel like gives you a ton of like versatility. Now you can run stuff like the aforementioned Captain of the Watch, the aforementioned Siege Gang commander, along with stuff like Restoration Angel now. So if someone tries to target your Jetmir, you can blink Jetmir to protect him now. You can blink your token creators to make more tokens. You can blink during combat, like we said, to surprise someone with a new stat to your board. Honestly, this one seems pretty cool to me. I don't know. Up next, we've got a viewer-submitted deck idea from LJLK, who suggests Aurelia the War Leader as a Blink deck. LJL says, just talk to the Discord about an Aurelia the War Leader Blink deck that blinks Aurelia to get extra combats. It can run a bunch of great Titan effects like Sun Titan, Inferno Titan, or Flage to be able to repeat both enters triggers and attack triggers. Aurelia only cares about the first time she attacked this turn, and if you blink Aurelia, that's a new version of Aurelia, okay? So what you do is you swing all out with all your stuff, they take it, in response to them taking it, you blink your Aurelia, blink. Aurelia's triggers on the stack, so you're going to untap your creatures, get another combat after this one. Wait, this is a new Aurelia, though, attacking for the first time. Swing again. As much blink as you have, you can just keep swinging over and over again. Again, it almost makes me think this was the intended way Aurelia was supposed to be ran, and the whole community just kind of ran with it a whole different direction. They're like, what if we just ran like Boros aggro with it? We've got another viewer-submitted idea from Matt Casita, being a Azlaask the Swelling Scourge idea. Azlaask is 3 for a 2/2. Whenever Azlaask the Swelling Scourge or another colorless creature you control dies, you get an experience counter, pay Wooburg. Creatures you control get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of experience counters you have. Scions and spawns you control gain Indestructible and Annihilator 1 until end of turn. I thought the same thing you're thinking. How many different directions can you take this thing, honestly? Turns out a really cool one. Matt says, I have an Azlaask the Swelling Scourge Zombies deck. Its linchpin is Sib-Sig Ceremony, so all the creatures are meant to spit out zombies and or Eldrazi's. It has ways to protect the creatures after Sib-Sig tries to blow them up, so I can get both the benefit of the creature while still getting a 2/2 Sib-Sig thing. According to EDH Rec, as of 2 weeks ago, there was still only one zombie Azlaask deck in existence, mine. But we just run colorless stuff, you know what I mean? You still just play the Solemns, you still play the cheap colorless devoid Eldrazi's, and then let them die to Sib-Sig Ceremony, and you're just converting your Eldrazi's and colorless stuff into experience counters and replacing them with 2/2 zombies. Such a cool deck idea, dude. Genuinely one of the coolest deck ideas I think I've ever seen on here. And if you would like to reach out to this dude, check the comments, because I will reach out to him and tell him to look out in the comments for anybody, because this is very, very cool. And if I can reach out to him before the video goes up and get the deck list, I'll post this deck list down below, because this one I think does actually have a full deck list. Moving on to Electro Assaulting Battery, being one assaulting battery, wow, being a 1 and 2 red 2/3 flying. This 1 and 2 red for a 2/3 flying has you don't lose unspent mana as steps and phases end. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, add 1 red. When Electro leaves the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, he does X damage to target player. This one I'm not sure about. This was, again, these are all just ideas. I had the idea to run stuff like, the idea here is to run stuff like Jaxus the Troublemaker to make copies of Electro, so then we have to sack the copies thanks to the legend rule, and that's the deck idea. We use the unspent mana thing with Electro and the instant and sorceries building up red mana to then just play a bunch of copy spells that cause us to sack one of the Electros due to the legendary rule, and essentially the deck is like as many copy effects as we have is like fireballs that we're able to use. You could also run like Impact Tremors or like Warstorm Surge to be like getting pings when you make the copies, as well as fireballing people. Not 100% here, not a mono red player, just an idea I had. If you want to go to some real classic Nyx Lotus, way back in the day I was trying to coin a term called turtle, and the idea of a turtle deck was that you sat behind pillow fort effects, but then you also sat behind enchantments that had like at the beginning of your upkeep, at the beginning of your end step, whenever a player, trigger abilities, and you win the game just by accumulating value sitting behind this wall of pillow fort and triggered abilities. Pramikon Sky Rampart is a blue, a red, and a white for a 1/5 flying defender. As it enters the battlefield, choose left or right. Each player may attack only the nearest opponent in the chosen direction, and planeswalkers controlled by that player. Right off the bat, the commander is a pillow fort commander. It's just going to be forcing only one player to be able to attack another player, so you're not going to have 3 players coming at you at any given moment. That's a great start. What do we do after that? Run like the enchantments that they give you Monarch and do the powerful effects on your upkeep. There's the white one that's 2 and 2 white. When you're the Monarch, it makes 4/4 angels. When you're not, it makes 1/1 spirits. Court of Grace. The court cards would be really good. Court of Grace, Court of Cunning. It's actually a lot of these now. Court of Ire, Court of Embrith, Court of Vantress. There's a bunch of these. They're all enchantments that just give you like powerful things on your upkeep, even more powerful if you're the Monarch, which in this deck you'd be like, oh Nick, you're not going to be the Monarch a lot. They make you the Monarch when they come into play. And then in this deck, it's going to be very hard for people to attack you. Because 1, our commander, 2, the pillow fort effects, 3, we're going to be running some other enchantments that are probably going to make it difficult for people to attack us, like Crackdown or something. I think that would be a pretty interesting deck, for me at least. Our next deck is based around Bayek of Siwa, dude. We have a lot of Boros going on so far. You should be proud of me. Bayek is 3, a red and a white for a 3/4 double strike. As long as it's your turn, other historic creatures you control have double strike, disguised for 1, a red and a white. So, this deck, if you build it online, it's pretty much you're going to go Legendary Tribal, or you're going to go Artifact Tribal. I kind of thought of a third option. It's kind of a third option because it still is artifacts, but I was thinking, couldn't you just go much wider and harder if you focused on artifact tokens instead of just artifacts? Because when you're dropping like 1 artifact turn 2, 1 turn 3, turn 4, wouldn't you rather be playing like 1 turn 4 that also makes like 2 more artifact bodies if all your historic stuff has double strike? Like for instance, I could turn 4 a Solemn Simulacrum in this deck normally, and it'd be pretty good. It's a 4-drop, tutor, potential card draw, double strike. Great. But in my deck, you're going to drop something like Canoptic Scarab Swarm, and would you look at that? That's a ton more power on board with Bayek. Wormcoil Engine? Cool. Big body, double strike, Death Touch, Lifelink, breaks apart into 2 more big bodies, double strike, and then Death Touch, Lifelink. Yeah. How scary does a mere battle sphere seem in this thing? Genuinely. See, that's end the game right there. If you want to be a real piece of shit, we got Fandaniel Telefori Asian. I have no idea how you... 4 and a black for a 4/5 whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, Surveil 1. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent may sacrifice a non-token creature of their choice. Each opponent who doesn't loses 2 life for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Yeah, online it's like, build this guy Spell Slinger, dude. Just sling spells. Or like Self-Mill. Self-Mill or Spell Slingers, dude, do that. Do that with it. Sure. We could do that. Or you could just jam as many mono black board wipes into this deck as you humanly can. Damnation and all the like. And literally all of them, put them in the deck, okay? That's the idea of the deck. We're running Fandaniel with all of the Feign Death cards. The 1 black target creature next time it dies comes back into play. As well as many board wipes as we can. And tons of instants and sorcery removal in the deck. That's literally the deck. It's going to be so AIDS to play against. You're going to just remove, kill, remove, surveilling the whole time you're doing that because they're instants and sorceries. And then when the time comes, I'm going to Feign Death my Fandaniel. I'm going to wipe the board. Everyone's stuff dies. My Fandaniel comes back. Oh, look at that. On my end step, he's going to go ahead and trigger. All you guys sack a non-token. Oh, you don't have non-tokens left? And I have 8 instants and sorceries in my graveyard? Yeah, you're all going to lose 16. And rinse and repeat with your stack of Feign Death cards and your stack of removal and your stack of board wipes. Did I say it was fun deck ideas? You know what I did? I actually did say it was fun deck ideas. So, this is for you, crazy man. If you want a real spicer heavy hitter that runs all the scariest creatures ever made in Magic, I've got Djeru and Hazoret being 2 and 2 red and a white for a For a 5/4, as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, it has Vigilance Haste. When it attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may exile a legendary creature card from among them, put the rest on the bottom. Until end of turn, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Eldrazi's. Yeah. All of them. All the biggest, scariest Eldrazi's are all legendary, and wouldn't you look at it, the OG Eldrazi's, like Ulamog the Infinite Gyre, have very good cast triggers, which, wouldn't you know it, Djeru and Hazoret lets us cast the spell that we pick for free. So have fun. Emrakul the Promised End, play it for free. Haragast Erupting Hellkite, sure, play it for free. Kozilek Butcher of Truth, cast it for free. Djeru and Hazoret. Don't have to explain anymore. Up next, we got another viewer-submitted idea from Austin Becker, who suggests an Abdel Adrian deck. He says mono white landfall, Commander Abdel Adrian, with Far Traveler as its background. Basically blinking all the catch-up ramp cards and blowing up our own lands to stay behind and continue to get landfall triggers. Not trying to out-ramp, just get landfall triggers. There are 17 mono white landfall cards and tons of catch-up ramp in mono white, so this deck could potentially work, especially if you're running the Zuran Orb, where you can sack your own lands to gain 2 life. That seems incredibly good to just start looping these landfall things. How powerful and like amazing is it? I'm not sure. Is it incredibly intriguing to hear mono white landfall? 100%. Our next deck idea is also viewer submitted, being from Quasi Quafta, who suggests Atla Palani Nest Tender. Atla Palani is 1, a red, a green, and a white for a 2/3. You can pay 2, tapper, create a 0/1 green egg creature token with Defender. Whenever an egg you control dies, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card onto the battlefield and put the rest on the bottom. Quasi says, Atla Palani, but all the creatures in the deck are eggs. Just eggs. Every egg that can be played. No changelings either. Just eggs. The deck plays some sack outlets and ways to reanimate eggs, or shuffle them from graveyard back into deck, using Rock Egg, Rook Egg, and Dragon Egg would eventually get you token flyers to swing with. High protein deck building, dude. Our next deck idea was actually going to be a full video, but then I went live and realized this is going to take some work, so it made it into the ideas video instead. So we got Sin Spira's Punishment, being a 4, a black, a green, and a blue, 7/7, flying. Whenever Sin enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random, then create a token that's a copy of it. If the exiled card was a land, repeat the process. So my idea here was to go Planeswalkers. Run stuff like Ripples of Undeath, put Planeswalkers in your bin, use Sin to cheat out those Planeswalkers, and then every turn you attack, you're hitting more Planeswalkers. You could run stuff like Delve, like Murderous Cut, I think is what it was called, where you can delve cards out of your graveyard to get rid of stuff that's not Planeswalkers to make sure you're hitting Planeswalkers with Sin. Upon playtesting this one, it was a little slow. 7 was a little steep. Once it got firing off, there were some games where you were just cheating out Planeswalkers every turn, and it was potentially getting pretty overpowered with stuff like Deep Glow Skate and Doubling Season. But all in all, the deck was a little clunky. This is one that I definitely need help with. There is a quote-unquote rough draft version of this deck, so I'll post that down below if you guys want to look at that. But yeah, Sin Planeswalkers. Thought it was kind of cool. Our next idea is viewer submitted from Cotton Green Sage, who said the commander should be Thantis the Warweaver, strategy Voltron. Thantis the Warweaver is 2, a black, a green, and a red for a 5/5, vigilance reach. All creatures attack each combat if able. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a 1/1 counter on Thantis the Warweaver. So you would think you run goat effects, but that would cause opponents to attack each other and not us, so Thantis wouldn't get counters. So forced combat really is the way to go, and Thantis just has that built in. You could run Goblin Diplomats and stuff like that to potentially force some combat. But yeah, if you just throw Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots on this thing, you have a huge commander that's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and has vigilance, reach, and now has haste and protection in the form of a pair of boots. You can get this thing huge. All you need is some sort of evasion, but I think something as simple as like a Rogue's Passage in your land slot will probably get you home a lot of the time. Totally agree though. When this thing is normally built as strictly forced combats, and then this thing just gets bigger, it'd be really cool to throw like a Black Blade Reforged onto Thantis along with a pair of boots and be like, hey, what's up? Our next deck idea is viewer submitted from Professor Chubb, who says, I'd like to preface this by saying this isn't going to be an original deck of mine. I saw this on Moxfield a while back, but have wanted to build it. A deck I've wanted to build for quite some time is a Pokemon Move tribal deck with Codie, Vociferous Codex, as the commander. All non-land cards are the name of Pokemon moves. It has always seemed like an awesome bracket 1 deck idea. It's super cool because you can't cast permanents in Codie. So like you could cast something like Smash, which is, I think, a Pokemon move and a thing in Magic, and a Magic card that you can cast. Something like Earthquake. you could cast in this deck, and then also it's a Pokemon move. Really cool. You're just running Codie as like kind of a Pokemon that is like using these different moves on people. Is this gonna win games or anything? No, but that's why Professor Chubb says it always seemed like a fun bracket 1 idea. If you're having fun as hell just sitting around with your Mimi bracket 1 decks, Codie, Vociferous Codex, Pokemon move, Tribal, pretty hilarious. And then ending off this list is my favorite deck idea from a viewer, from Dan Yiff. He says Wick World Mind Rat Tribe All. And he used our little Tribe All name, dude. If you haven't watched the Tribe All video, we had a unique deck idea in one of our videos where he had a Tribe All theme. Very, very cool. Deck doesn't feature a single rat. It's all changelings. Put in ridiculous payoff cards for other obscure creature types. Hell yeah. Which just works because all of our rats are also minotaurs, snakes, slugs, humorids. Go and outvalue them and play Wick as a continuously loaded handgun. Oh, you want to remove a thing? Fancy taking 12 damage? So like we talked about in the original Tribe All video, you run changelings, like Amoeboid Changeling for instance, who is all creature types. Yeah, like you could literally run Bayek in this deck and it would go nuts because all of our rats, quote unquote, are changelings, meaning they're also something like a demon. So the draw X, lose X for the number of demons you control, and whenever a demon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage to its power to any target that Bayek gives us, works with all of these quote unquote rats we're playing. Absolutely disgusting. Like you said, throw in all of your favorite tribal payoffs and they will just go crazy in this deck because all your creatures are just changelings. Absolutely love Tribal decks. I think they're so fun. One of the only tribe type decks I would ever think about building. So thanks for using the Tribal term. That feels good. And thanks for submitting these ideas, guys. It was tons of good ideas. By the way, if your ideas didn't appear on this video, don't think that I didn't get them or didn't like them. They might appear on a future video like this. I just had so many that I was like, I can only really afford like 5, 6-ish on here. Watch out for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the, I built 4 decks for the Meaty Magic video that came out yesterday. If you haven't watched that, you can click that right up here. And if you want to show some support, you can go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Head over to the nixlotus.com website to use our Scryfall search engine tool. It helps you refine some of your Scryfall searches, as well as pick up some Taneb the Harvester merch over there. And if you want to show some extra support, you can head over to the Patreon page or the YouTube members page and become a member for as low as $1 a month, which gives you access to submitting your Commander decks for Friday Night Deck Review live streams we do here. So a little incentive there. Huge shout out to all the people you can see on screen right now, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Peace.